What to throw on what day and what time do I throw it? Find out coming up. Alright, we're back with another episode, First Class Fishing. We're here in my barbershop, First Class Barbershop. We're gonna figure out what we're fishing with, how we're fishing it, all the way down to our setups, to our lines, to our reels, to our lures, what time of day we're fishing, what time of year we're fishing, and what we're fishing for. So stay tuned, come right back at you. First things first is our setup. We have here a 500 series Shimano Sahara reel. It's a great reel for a small panfish kind of a setup. We're not casting halfway across the lake. We're not trying to rip 10-gram lures out there. We're in here, we're on a 6'2" ultralight fast action panfish rod. It's a Bass Pro Elite. It's an $80 rod. Way more bang for your buck. This rod is worth $180. As far as I'm concerned, I've caught massive fish on this, haven't broke. Just great flexibility, great cast. You can't go wrong with this 6'2" Panfish Elite Bass Pro rod. Like I said, it's just a great ultra light, fast action rod. You're gonna feel every bite. You're gonna feel every. If you're throwing a Panther Martin, you're gonna feel that blade smack. And if you don't feel it, you need to give it a little hook, little set, and you're gonna feel it start kicking on. You can't go wrong with this setup for smaller fish. I have caught 6-pound fish on this. It takes a long time. It's quite a fight. It's quite a fun fight. But a little more. Our next setup is going to be what you want for them bigger fish. Panfish, 15-inch fish. Fun setup right here. You're going to have a great time for not a lot of money. This Sahara 500 series Shimano is $90. This whole setup right here, you're under $200 for a setup you'll never need to go another day without. I mean, as soon as I got this, I couldn't believe it. I went to the store and I bought this setup. So this setup right here is our next setup. This is a Shimano Sahara as well, reel. This is the 1000 series. The 1000 series is just a little bit bigger diameter. I don't know if you can tell in the video here, but the diameter of this 500 series is just a little smaller than that 1000. The 500 series, or the 1000 series, you're going to be able to cast a lot farther. You're going to be able to, it has the same gear ratio. I believe it's a 6:2, I believe is the gear ratio. Don't quote me on that. I'll put the description below, but it's a good gear ratio. You're not going to be reeling super fast. It's not going to be flying in. As far as I'm concerned, this 1000 series, you don't need to go much above for mountain fish, for trout, for most bass. Unless you're getting out of Colorado and you're catching 10-pound bass, you're going to want a bigger reel. And you're going to want a bigger rod. So this rod setup here is a ugly stick. This is a highlight 6'2" ugly stick. It's a medium action, so you are going to feel the bop still, but you're not going to feel it as much as this fast action. The medium actions though is great for jerk baits. I fish a lot of jerk baits. We're going to get into that soon. But I do a lot of jerk bait fishing, a lot of dynamic lure fishing, and this medium action rod, you're going to feel that pull, and it's this setup right here, this drag setup is going to catch some big fish. You're going to be able to handle anything you're going to need for big fish. Now the line setup is pretty important. I've messed around with line quite a bit. My favorite line, and we're not sponsored by any means yet or anything, but P-line fluorocarbon, best line you can get in my opinion if you're going fluorocarbon. This is by far the best abrasion resistant line on the market in my opinion. I go with a 6-pound test for most pretty decent sized trout. We're going for big trout, but we're not going for giant trout. What we want is invisibility. So we want that line we're fishing these high mountain lakes, some of these lakes that are virtually, you can see 20 feet below. So you want that line to be pretty invisible, because then those trout are very smart. Trout can see that line coming a mile away, trust me. I used to fish with a lot of braided stuff, and then doing, you know, your double uni knots to your braided to your fluoro. I just like going 100% fluoro on this setup, just my preference. But 6 pound, if you go 8 pound, you're gonna find that it has a little bit more memory, that it's gonna be a little bit, you can cast pretty far with 8 pound, but it's not as invisible, and you're just gonna get a lot better castability with a little bit lighter line when you're throwing these lighter lures. These dynamic lures are only about an eighth ounce to 1/10 ounce. So you're really throwing a light lure, so you're gonna want a light setup, a light reel, a light line. Trust me, the 6 pound line can pull in an 8 pound fish. It's happened. But that's our setups that we have here. I run 6 pound on both setups. The Shimano Sahara 500 series, 1000 series, you can't go wrong with it. My least favorite lure, but always trusty, are the rooster tails. Rooster tails are, you have a hard time going wrong with color variation. There's so many different colors. I really like a gold color, a gold spinner on real sunny days. No clouds in the sky. Just a real kind of a hot day. I like a gold lure. Gold lures, gold spinners, gold blades seem to attract those fish. The sun reflects off that gold lure, and just they can't resist. So it brings me to the next point, is on cloudy days. Cloudy days, rooster tails, I'll throw a spinner of a silver spinner. Silver blades. Silver blades kind of reflect off those clouds just right. Kind of throws a different color, different shine in the water, if you will. And just the clouds will create a different shade on that lure. I'll also throw silver Castmasters on cloudy days. Just the way it reflects off the clouds, I don't know what it is. I feel like the silver works best on cloudy days. On sunny days, I throw a little bit more of the gold, the Castmaster here. This is more of a brown pattern, but still gold, has that gold shimmer. Just kind of a jerkbait style, pause, pause, jerk, pause, pause, jerk, as opposed to the rooster tail where you just want a steady retrieve. You're just throwing it out there, you're letting it sink to your desired depth of kind of where you're gonna find those fish at, and just a steady retrieve. You wanna give it a couple pops right off the bat, but then just steady, just back in the same pace. Brings me to my next favorite lure. Here's the Joe's fly. So the Joe's flies, they're a little fly with a Colorado blade style, a Colorado blade on it, and this big blade is going to have a lot heavier action. You're going to feel it on these ultralight rods. You're going to feel it thump a lot more. You're going to feel that blade really tear through that water, and what it does is it throws a vibration that's much more than these skinnier tiny kind of rooster tails. That vibration through the water is going to drive those fish nuts. The bigger the blade, the bigger the vibration, the more attraction you're going to get. So once they get that attraction, they see that fly flying through the water, and they can't resist. And with these Joe's flies, they have an extra treble on the bottom. So I don't know if you can tell, there's a treble hook right down here, and also a regular hook. So you have your regular hook over here, and then your treble down here. So if that fish comes anywhere near these, or anywhere near that fly, he's getting caught. So you have double the chance of really catching a good fish on these guys. These guys do wear out fairly quick. If you're catching a lot of fish, these Joe's flies are gonna wear down fairly fast. So those feathers, kind of like a normal fly, if you're fly fishing, a couple fish, 5, 6, 10 fish, they're gonna tear up that feather a little bit. But they still fish really well, even though they're a little worn out. Kind of down here, you see this guy, he's got his little feather out. I've still fished with them. I've still caught fish with them. It just depends. But Joe's fly is probably my second to third favorite. But these Castmasters are always something to be reckoned with. Always like them on slow days when the bite's just not so aggressive. You gotta give them a little action to get their attention. But those are the top 3 so far. We're back here with some more lures. These are probably my second favorite lure. They catch a lot of fish. For how small they are, they catch big fish and a variety of fish. These spinners I've caught anywhere from crappies to bass to trout to tiger trout to grayling trout. I've caught all kinds of fish with these lures. So these are Panther Martins. The black and the yellow, these do the best early morning before sun, as the sun's coming up, as the sun's going down. Dark cloudy days, the darker the lure seems like, the better the bite. So these dark lures, the all black Panther Martin seems to do really good on dark cloudy days. For whatever reason, on real bright days, they don't get the shimmer, they don't get the attraction that they might get, I don't know, for whatever reason on these darker days. But that's when I like to throw them. And then you have the brighter Panther Martins. So then we're getting into more of the holographic trout colored Panther Martins. These are great sunny days, bright days, middle of the day. You get them to sink to your preferred depth, you know, 6 feet, 10 feet, 8 feet, maybe 12 feet. Let that thing sink all the way down. Give it a quick couple jerks to get that propeller going, and they're great steady retrieve. They're great lures. One of my favorite lures of all time in the Panther Martin is more of this red pattern. Let's see here. Here it is. One more of this red on it. This is a silver blade with a gold, yellow body. This Panther Martin does really great on cloudy days. Little trout seem to go nuts on these little things. Creek fishing, these little lures are great creek fishers. They don't sink they sink fast, but they're so little that they don't get a lot of distance. So little creeks, they're great. They don't sink super fast. You're not gonna get a whole lot of snags if you reel them pretty quick. Just a steady retrieve on all these Panther Martins. Do a great job. And then I come down to my flies. So I do some bubble flies. I throw a water bobber with a couple flies behind it. And sometimes I like to throw grasshoppers with them. Throw a couple grasshoppers in there, and a lot of your beaded nymphs. For the fish that are just below the surface, I throw a lot of beaded nymphs down there. I throw a bobber, and then you throw a beaded nymph just below it, about 2 feet below your bobber. Throw your nymph, throw it out there, and just do a real steady retrieve with it. Let that fly sink down, let it do the work, and just a real steady retrieve, almost as if you were fly fishing with a strip. Stripping it back, just a steady retrieve, bobber and a fly. Match the hatch a little bit if you can, if you know what that is, and kind of find the flies that are flying around that area. Find the flies that those fish are eating, match that fly, throw it on the end of a bobber, steady retrieve. It's gonna kill it every time, especially in the evening when they're hitting top water, early morning when they're looking for that hatch. Flies and a bobber, that's my number 2 right there. All right guys, super excited about these. These are my number 1 lure. The number 1 thing I'm throwing out there, whether it be a creek, whether it be a lake, whether it be a stream, whatever it may be, jerkbaits. I throw dynamic lure 9 times out of 10. Dynamic lures make some of the best lures around here. In our area, these lures, they make them for our fish. So these lures are just, you can't go wrong with dynamic lures. They're just awesome. My number one lures that that I love to throw out there all the time, you have your HD natural dynamic lures. This is a natural trout pattern. If I can get it off here. These lures. It's more of a natural trout pattern. Now these lures do not sink very fast. They are sinking lures, but they do not sink very fast. So you can get away with throwing it out there, adjusting your line a little bit, and it not going straight to the bottom, snagging rocks, losing lures, which brings me to the next point. They're not that expensive. These are about $9 a lure, which seems irrelevant when you're catching so many fish with them. This HD natural trout pattern is one of my favorites. I catch so many trout, brown trout, rainbow trout. They are little cannibals. They'll eat anything. So these dynamic lures you can't go wrong with. I really love the brown trout. So we have an HD brown trout. This is the ghost brown trout. It's a little bit of a see-through, and it does have some little beads in there for some noise. Drives them nuts. What you want to do with almost all of these lures is hit it out there, get it to your desired depth, and then jerk it. You want a couple jerks, and you'll see in my videos, a couple jerks, a couple reels, a couple jerks, a couple reels, maybe a jerk, a reel, jerk, and a reel. But you want that fish to be moving like a normal fish. You want it to be trying to escape. If it sees a big fish, there it goes. It's leaving, it's taking off. So that big fish sees that, and he takes off after it because that's his dinner, or that's his breakfast. So that's what you want to do with these jerk baits, is actually really jerk, retrieve. Sometimes on a steady reel, you can get them in. You just on a real steady kind of a reel, a couple little just baby pops, just to make that fish do a little bit of a quick action. But you can get them to just kind of reel real slow, and they will bite that too. But the more action, the more hits with those guys. I do some Rapala fishing as well. If we're out in the middle of a lake, that lake's real deep, the bite's kind of deep, maybe it's hot outside, the heat has kind of come in a little bit. We're fishing 85-degree weather, 90-degree weather sometimes. These things are great because these are sinking Rapalas. They're called countdown Rapalas. If you can see these little natural trout pattern here. This is a countdown Rapala, and this thing, you count it down. Every second is a foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time you count, it's a foot that it drops in the water. So if you can really target those fish. If they're way down there, 10, 12, 15 feet, you can let this thing sink all the way down there, and then bop and retrieve, bop and retrieve. Same kind of way as our dynamic lures. But these things here are awesome because you can hit the deep depths of lakes and streams that you might actually want to hit. And the faster you reel it, or the more, 1 second, you're floating top water. 5 seconds, you're floating 5 feet. And they stay at that level the whole retrieve. So you're not really reeling, they're not kind of doing this a whole lot. So they stay at that level. So these Rapalas are great. They come up all the way into the 7.5, which is a lot bigger. So this is a little bit bigger of a lure. This is somewhere around 3 inches. This one's somewhere around 2. So it's almost just a full inch bigger, as you can see there. In my opinion, bigger lure, bigger fish. Not every time. I have caught some of the smallest fish on these 7.5s as well. But these guys will sink a little bit faster. A second a foot. These are a little bit more than that, because they are just a little bit heavier. These ones are made out of balsa wood, so these ones have that buoyancy that when you start reeling it, it's going to stay at that level. So it's not going to fly right up as soon as you start reeling it. So these are great lures. You can't go wrong. I have brown trouts. I have all the different colors. This is more the brookie trout here. All the way into the kind of shad color looking with the real orange looking belly, you know. Can't go wrong with jerk baits. They are by far my favorite lure. Anywhere from small fish, panfish, to giant fish you'll see on my channel. They're just great. I fish them day, night, anytime. They make some, these guys here, Rapala does with the little spinner as well. Those can work pretty good. I have a little bit better luck on the more natural colors or the more natural looking lures, but these are great as well. So those are my #1 lures, guys. Like I said, dynamic lures, you can't go wrong here local. Pick them up at your Sportsman's, Bass Pro, and True Value. True Value even sells these guys. So get out there, get fishing, throw all the stuff, find out what works. A lot of the things that I didn't say today work great. Just whatever is up to you. It's whatever you feel is best and whatever you have the most confidence in is going to catch the most fish. This is what I have the most confidence in. So thanks for staying tuned. We'll be back with you on another episode.